As the world marks World Teachers' Day, learners and parents alike are celebrating teachers by reflecting on the support they get from them and in a sometimes very challenging environment. And for more on this, we're now joined by education activist Hendrick Makaneta. He joins us now via our video link. Hendrick, thank you so much for your time this evening here on SABC News. Of course, as we mark World Teachers' Day, what does a day like this mean? Tell us what comes to mind when we speak about teachers.
When we speak about teachers, we're talking about parents. In the absence of parents at school, teachers automatically become parents, and therefore teachers have got a duty to ensure that they look after the general well-being of all our learners. And of course, it does not end there. Teachers must be able to help our learners and to create a future for themselves. And I think that on this very day, we salute all the teachers who continue to make a meaningful contribution in the lives of our learners.
And I mean, Hendrick, you say that teachers are like parents, because they really take care of the children when the parents are not around. They also equally become mentors and become people that many learners can look up to. Just tell us what is so important about celebrating today and the role that teachers play in our society.
I think that, there is no doubt that teaching is the mother of all professions. And of course, as I've said earlier on, teachers play a critical role in ensuring that they mold our learners. It makes sense that we must pause and reflect and celebrate, all our teachers for the role that they continue to play on a daily basis, for the sacrifices that they make. There are other teachers who sometimes, sacrifice even their weekends just to ensure that learners can be able to improve, on their different studies. And of course, there are a wide range of challenges. You may know that the teaching profession is not as lucrative or respected as it used to be in the past. For the mere reason that, there might be other careers that have developed over the years. And of course, even those who do not necessarily have education in our country sometimes, find themselves able to survive in these harsh economic times. But be that as it may, it makes sense that we should be able to respect the role displayed by our teachers, to ensure that the country produces responsible citizens who can be able to make a meaningful contribution in the lives of others.
And Hendrick, you touch on something very important there, the issues around the challenges that many teachers come across. Maybe if you can expand on that issue. We know that, some talk about the overcrowding of their classrooms. Some, like you said a bit earlier on, even sacrifice their weekends to ensure that, teaching and learning continues despite not having enough time with their learners. What are some of the intricate challenges which are faced by the teachers in South Africa?
There are many challenges, particularly in townships as well as rural schools. You've mentioned overcrowding already. That is a big problem because it makes it difficult for the teacher to reach out to all the learners. But at the same time, safety. The school safety is a major cause for concern. Many of our teachers do no longer feel safe. You'll recall that, there are teachers who have been stabbed, within school premises. There are teachers who have been shot by learners. There are teachers who have been shot by criminals, just within the schooling fraternity. And of course, the learners today as well, there are many violent learners who continue to terrorize, schools, ensuring that they hamper learning and teaching. And of course, apart from that, parental involvement in schools, particularly in townships, is minimal. And so issues of discipline, you'll recall that ever since corporal punishment was abolished by the government, the government did not put anything in place to make sure that our teachers can be able to instill discipline in schools. And so there are just too many challenges within the sector. Some of them affect even learners who come from poor communities. Issues of pit latrines continue to be unresolved in some of the rural schools. And these things affect even the morale, the teaching morale amongst the staff.
And Hendrick, we often hear about, teacher shortages in the country. But at the same time, recently, we've heard that there may be budget cuts that will affect a number of teachers, and these teachers may end up losing their jobs. And this is hundreds of teachers, of course, in the Western Cape province. Maybe if you can just touch on that and expand for us, what are your thoughts in terms of the budget cuts which have been announced that may affect, teaching and learning in classrooms?
Well, austerity measures that have been announced by government, which led to budget cuts, not only in the Department of Basic Education, it's a cause for great concern. We know that education remains an apex priority of government. If you look at the expenditure, despite the budget cuts. But of course, you'll also recall that the majority or the biggest chunk of our budget goes to salaries, to pay our teachers within the sector. And so Western Cape has taken a decision not to, appoint almost 2,400 teachers in the academic year 2025. And that is the biggest concern, which will really lead to influx of teachers, in my view, in other provinces. We've seen in Gauteng, the MEC there, Matume Chulwane, has reassured the nation that teacher posts will not be affected. In KwaZulu-Natal as well, as we speak, we saw that, they have advertised, teacher posts, despite the budget cuts. So it seems Western Cape is the leading province in as far as, cutting of posts is concerned. We've not had much from other provinces such as Northwest, as well as Limpopo. But our view is that teachers should be prioritized, because if you are not going to appoint teachers, it means you are going to worsen the problem of overcrowding, because the ratio of one teacher to the learners will actually increase. One teacher will have to deal with, more learners than before if we don't appoint.
And Hendrick, as we wrap up our conversation, perhaps maybe give us your message to teachers around the globe today as we celebrate Teachers' Day.
We want to send a message of hope and goodwill to all the teachers, not only in our country, but throughout, other parts of the world, to say that they must continue to do the duty of care. They must always remember that in the absence of the parent, the teacher automatically becomes the parent, and therefore teachers have got a duty to make sure that they look after the general well-being of all our learners, so that our learners can be able to create a future for themselves.
All right, Hendrick, thank you so much for your time this evening. That is Hendrick Makaneta. He is an education activist there, reflecting on World Teachers' Day. Of course, this is celebrated every year. And of course, here in South Africa, at the same time, marking that event during the Teacher Awards with President Cyril Ramaphosa and the Basic Education Minister earlier today.